Hi, this is the Drupal core cross-initiatives meeting for September 17th, 2020. The last practical one before the alpha 9.1. The last one would be basically 2 days before alpha freeze anyway. So it's kind of maybe a useless point at that time. We'll see. And Mike wanted to go first.
Yeah.
Herschel. No, Mike Herschel wanted to go first. Sorry.
Sorry, Mike Lutz.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So Olivero, right? So the issue we're pretty close on meeting the beta criteria. There's one particular issue with the settings tray that we want to get the forms to align properly, but the main things that are going to kind of block us or like impede us right now are various different post CSS dependencies, and I've discussed this with Lowry before. We have some issues open for these. Lowry brought up a different post CSS plugin that kind of depends on some of these plugins too. So I did a little bit of testing of that, and it looks like it's going to work. It's going to require some refactoring, but it'll work. But at this point, we need to know, what's going to go into core so we can actually do the work to refactor. And right now we have an updated core patch from a couple days ago, and that's going to need review at some point. I know everybody's busy, and I've been making progress on it, and that's it for me today.
So are there particular things that you need for the post CSS things, like reviews, or is it core committer blocked, or is it what is it?
So the ones that I already have created, like I think they just need I reached out to John Albin on Slack, and I haven't heard back since he's a CSS maintainer. But as far as the new one that will cover everything, actually either Lowry or I need to create an issue with that, and then kind of just get by. And I don't really know what the process is to get a new post CSS plugin into core, but basically we just need, I need to know that's going into core. It doesn't need to maybe get into core for me to do my work, but I don't want to do all the work until I'm fairly confident it's going to go into core, if that makes sense.
So the issue exists already. I sent the link on Zoom, and okay. There's a patch that I've created. So if you want, you can review that. If it works for you, you could even mark it as RTBC, I think. So.
All right. Well, that's.
So basically, I'm trying to make a point on the issue that it's implementing the consensus that we built on the initial post CSS issue in a better way. So it's not necessarily something that needs a particular sign off, except for the specific plugin. But like conceptually, it does exactly what we wanted post CSS to do for us.
Yeah, I agree.
So for that reason, I think it's easier for us to get that in. And so basically we need someone to RTBC the issue if everything is all right, and then I can try to talk to the committers to see if someone would be open to commit.
Everybody just locked up for a second here, but I think the gist of what you were saying is that I just need to comment RTBC this, and I guess I'll reach out to you in Slack to like figure out when and if I should start refactoring everything within Olivero. Cool. Okay. Are there any more questions for me?
So we wanted to have a meeting with Angie.
Yeah.
So you're close to meeting the beta criteria as identified by the Olivero team, and I reviewed the list of the beta issues and helped on a bunch of them, and I think this almost down to this single issue about the settings tray or something
Yeah.
on the dependencies. I did not yet have time to look at whether any of the stable ones would be beta requirements. And I'm not really good at that review either, but I will try to set aside some time to put that together. But I think Angie said that she either needs a list put together that she says yay or nay, or she's absolving herself from the possibility to complain if I sign off on it. So I will do one of those things.
Cool. And if we're unable to find a time to meet all together, you know, Putra and I can meet directly with Angie too. That might just be a little bit easier for you or something like that. I'm open and I'm willing to kind of make time for this to happen. So,
I think
however,
that, I mean, if Angie can make herself available, that would probably be the best for you and Putra to meet Angie without us, and then we can cut off the European time zone problem.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and I'll organize that today.
Another thing we could do is me and Gabor and maybe you meet, and then we list all of the issues that we are unsure about, and send that list to Angie to review. Yeah.
Well, however you want to do it, I'm open to whatever's easiest for everybody else, because I'm kind of in the middle of everybody, and I can also rearrange my schedule to make different, you know, time slots happen.
I think Angie is really good at spotting problems quickly if you book some time with her.
Okay.
If you don't book some time with her, she finds it hard to make the time. But if you book some time with her, then she will commit to that time and will review it with you. That's my experience with Angie.
I will book some time with her.
Yeah, she's great at the co-review time. She really excels at that style. That would be great. And then I can help, like, do the review after or something, even offline on whatever you came up on the issue or in a Google Doc or email or whatever format. I'm happy to have us do a second eye. And
perfect.
Yeah. Have you heard anything from the results of the accessibility study on Olivero?
Unfortunately, no. Kat reached out for the second time, I believe yesterday, and we haven't heard back yet. So, I did get a notification. We sent them a Google Doc, and for whatever reason, like someone, you know, changed an indentation, and I got a notification with that, which only tells me that they were looking at the Google Doc. Maybe they were doing the work. I haven't heard beyond that. I expected to get the results back already, but you know, I don't want to pester them too much since they're doing it for free. But they also seemed very excited to do it, so I'll maybe reach out on Friday if I don't hear back. You know, reach out tomorrow and maybe start pestering them.
And do you know how comfortable the accessibility maintainers are on the timeline / marking Olivero as beta? Have you had any discussions with them?
Nothing specifically with this, but I could reach out. The person that's been most active lately is Mike Gifford. I've reached out to Andrew a couple times, and he hasn't been as active, and neither has Rain. But I could probably get some feedback from Mike Gifford to go through that meta issue and get his feedback on that, if that would help.
Yeah, and I repeat what I think I mentioned in the last call. The most important for beta is to identify what is missing for it to from the core gates and have that listed as part of the roadmap, and just to make sure that there isn't anything that should be beta blocking left anymore, something that would require a BC break. But I think it's very unlikely in Teams. I don't think we had many, like, if something is completely unusable, that's kind of the case. And we had a few of those in Claro, but not many. And that could be the same for you, or it could be different. I don't know, because I haven't looked at it from that perspective.
Yeah, that's what I think. that's I think what we discussed in the meeting is that if you can't use a form or part of the site, then it's a problem. But if it's slightly off, if the alignment is not perfect, that's not beta blocking.
Yeah, and you don't have to meet. I don't think you have to meet the AA criteria even for beta. That's for being stable. But you have to have those things, most of that listed for the AA.
I'm pretty confident if we're not at AA, we're pretty close to that. A lot of the accessibility issues that we want to resolve are they're not necessarily meeting the AA criteria, but they're still important. You know, like one of the things I'm thinking of in my head is just standardizing the focus styles. We have some very like noticeable focus styles, but they're kind of different on different elements, and so we're working on standardizing them so it's more understandable to the user. And
Yep.
that's going to be a little bit of lift, but that's not beta blocking as I understand it.
Yep. That sounds correct to me.
Okay, so at this point, I'm going to set up a meeting with Angie to go over the meta issue, and also reach out to Mike Gifford, and I'll just do this in the accessibility channel, and I'll tag all of the maintainers and see if any of them want to do that, and see if any of them are blocking beta, and you know, hopefully that'll get done before I meet with Angie. And at that point, you know, if I can get more code reviews on the patch that I submitted, like I'm sure you're going to find one or two things in there, and we can resolve those. And hopefully we can get this in, you know, sooner than later. Yeah, and then obviously the post CSS ENV thing. Preset.
I'll try to
ENV.
give it another review tomorrow or beginning of next week.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah, it would need to be committed in 4 weeks, basically, latest, because the alpha week is the week of the 19th of October. So it starts on Monday. So whatever is committed by the week of the alpha, by 19th.
Gotcha.
The alpha. So it would need to be committed the week before the alpha. So in 4 weeks, basically. That's the time now.
Okay. Well, I personally think that's doable, but you know, that also, you know, depends on people, you know, Lowry and whoever else, you know, spending a good chunk of time doing all the review and everything.
Yep. All right.
All right. Well, thanks for making time, and thanks for letting me go first.
Sure, do your thing.
Yep. Bye, everybody.
All right, who was next? I think the other mic was next, right? Is that true?
No, I should be pretty quick. On the migration side, I wanted to mention that we've got, I think, like 20 issues in RTDC right now, and it's kind of on us because our review queue just got out of control over the summer, and we've recently gone and done a lot of triage and cleaned up a whole bunch of stuff and thrown a whole bunch of stuff into RTDC in the last 2 weeks, and we know the committers are busy with other initiatives and all of that too. But I just want to mention that we've got quite a few in RTDC right now. Actually, one of the big reasons I popped in today is I jumped on the Bugsmash initiatives meeting the other day at midnight my time. And most of the people working on that initiative are Southeast Asia, New Zealand, Australia area people who it's the middle of the night for them right now. And so when I mentioned, hey, I'm in the US and I come to this cross initiative meeting, you know, whenever I can, they asked me to pop in and kind of give them a shout out. They're doing some good work. There's they squashed close to 500 bugs that they've got tagged, and they wanted me to just kind of mention that, you know, for all the subsystem maintainers, all the people that are doing reviews, they've got about 100 issues tagged with Bugsmash initiative that are in needs review right now. And they were just kind of hoping to get the word out there that, you know, if you see that as a subsystem maintainer or anybody that's doing reviews, but particularly to the maintainers, you know, if you see that tag, or if you want to do a search for that tag in your subsystem, you'll see a lot of really good, really important issues that might need review or might need some work. And so anybody that's kind of got any power to direct contributors, hey, what should I work on? Having people look for that tag in your various subsystems is a great thing to have people that are looking for something to do work on. And so they just kind of wanted to get a shout out in this meeting and a note in the minutes that they're there. That the tag is Bugsmash Initiative, and so if you see it, that's a good ticket to prioritize. If you're looking for something to prioritize.
Yeah, I will try to help promote that tag and get the word out more as well.
That's about it for me. I now that I've got the migration issue queue triaged, I am starting to look back on Drupal 10 issues again and start looking at some Symfony 5, Symfony 6 stuff. But again, there's one big issue left that's kind of blocking the bulk of the Symfony 5 support, and then we got it, or at least as far as taking care of the official deprecations in Symfony 4, there's one issue left, and then we've got to actually make the whole thing work with Symfony 5, which will no doubt require a few extra things and adding a whole bunch of new deprecation suppressions in for the Symfony 5 deprecations temporarily, just to try and get Drupal working. So that'll be the next step after this last issue that covers the official Symfony 4 deprecations can get signed off on and committed. So that's where that's at.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of back and forths with I think Alex Spot and Catch were working on that.
Yeah, there were several people working on that issue. I haven't. It's been going so fast. I've been kind of letting them go at it. I've been trying to stay out of it. But once that's done, then we'll, like I said, we'll get the test issue working. We'll see what that takes, and then we'll be able to kind of start identifying what are going to be blockers that we know of right now for Symfony 6 compatibility, and trying to see what we can address and see how to address some of that, because I think I mentioned before, some of it's going to be pretty tricky. We're going to have to build probably bridge layers and stuff to make it work. So we'll have a lot of work to do there, especially since Symfony 5 is still in development, so they're only on 5.2 should be coming out soon. So we got a couple more minor versions where they'll be continuing to deprecate stuff over the next year or two. So it'll be clearly an ongoing process to maintain Symfony 6 support through the Drupal 9 cycle. So
yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. It would be great to have you back on those Symfony things, because they've been moving, but the more eyes would really help. So since we are on Drupal 10 anyway, I can extend on this and talk a bit about PHP 8 stuff. So I helped review a bunch of the outstanding PHP 8 issues for ourselves. We've had like 5 or 6 issues that we have that are incompatible with PHP 8, but most of them are little like fringe APIs that are like just used in 1 or 2 places. And I think most of them are TBC now. There's 1 or 2 remaining that still needs some work or agreement. I think especially around SQL statement interface or something. That's a problem area. That's a bit complicated, or at least the solution is not so nice, but we don't really have a nice solution. So once those are in, then we are down to basically our dependencies, which is going to be Composer 1/2. Composer 2 is PHP 8 compatible. PHP unit, and then a bunch of other miscellaneous stuff that are slowly moving and starting to get support for PHP 8. So there's still a bunch of things that needs to be updated there. I don't know if it's even possible to do it on time for 9.1, or if we will need to do it all before the alpha, but we are getting there. So that's for that. For CK Editor, also Drupal 10, we've had a meeting with CK Source, a company that builds CK Editor 3 weeks ago or so. And we posted the results of that into the editor selection issue, because there's a bunch of other things that, bunch of other possible editors that people suggested. And so we looked at all of the problems that we think we could have with CK Editor 5 and some of the problems we could have with the other editors. And we got the CK Source company to commit a bunch of resources to focus on some of the things that are problems for us. So we are quite ahead of the curve, I guess, in terms of resolving those with CK Source instead of going with another editor and needing to resolve it for ourselves entirely. So we ended up with deciding to go with CK Editor 5. And today we've had another meeting with Lemberg, who the company is planning to do a contrib project that's an MVP CK Editor 5 integration project. And we hope to learn a lot from how that went and what are the pain points and possibilities of integration, et cetera, that we are missing, and to build a lot of that learning into how we build the core integration as well. So it's hopefully going to be useful. So I think that's the Drupal. That's probably all the Drupal 10 things. Ed or Larry, who was next? I don't know. Maybe Larry, probably Larry.
Fabian, do you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I would have to drop out at some point as well. For CMI2, we just restarted the kind of the meetings. We decided basically that we will implement the config environment module outside of core patches first, because the core patches, it will be easier to review when everything is there to review. Otherwise, you have to know what to expect, and so like as a proof of concept, a lot of the features will go into config split, which is kind of like too much for the core use case, but most of the things that we need to figure out for the core module, they also make sense for config split, so we can experiment there. But that leads me to a question that maybe Gabor, you know, for like the accessibility and the UX review, the core gates for this. What is the process for getting those if it's not like a patch directly, or like what's the process for getting a module into core that was developed outside first, like the JSON API, for example?
I think it eventually ends up as a core patch either way.
Yeah, exactly. But it would be great to get feedback before that.
Yeah. So I think you can feel free to bring the module to the UX meetings. That's on Tuesday, whatever time currently. It's Tuesday, 4 p.m. If you can be available at the time, or if you cannot be available at the time, then hopefully somebody else from the team can bring it to the meeting. If nobody else from the team is available at the time, then you can propose the module for review as part on the UX channel on Slack. There's a Slack reminder on the day before. There's the meeting ideas are being collected there. And then if you propose it there and you don't show up, it could still be that the people load up the module in the meeting and try to figure it out for themselves. They may not be able to figure out all the things, or they may not know the motivation of some of the things. So that's why it's not ideal if you're not.
Yeah.
But it's still possible if you're not available. I think accessibility review, there's an accessibility office hours where you can bring it. I'm looking whether it's in the core calendar, but you can look at the accessibility Slack channel. And there's gonna be.
Yeah, I just found the 2 Slack channels. I joined them. So
There's accessibility office hours there, and you can bring it
yeah,
there.
they're also all in the core calendar, right?
It should be on the core calendar. I'm looking at the channel.
Okay.
Where should I look? But this accessibility office hours are.
I see. Also on Tuesdays.
Are every month. So the next one is actually today. Yay! So let's see. When is that?
I see accessibility office hours on the 22nd.
Interesting.
September in this calendar, but yeah, okay. That's good to know. So basically the point is you have the module, you join the meeting, or like first on Slack, you inform everyone where to get and like put it on the calendar.
Yeah.
And then, all right, perfect.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think both of the accessibility and the UX meetings are video meetings. So maybe not.
No, that's great.
Chat meeting. So, but then the UX is a video meeting, so you can show the UI, get feedback.
Yeah.
Post it, etc. That's the process.
Perfect.
So for the module, you are building it in conflict split and contrib.
Yes. So I mean, most of the functionality of the config environment module is kind of like a subset of what config split currently does. So config split allows you to have modules enabled depending on whether the split is enabled, and then when you import and export. But for the config environment, we need to be able to switch the environment. So you can say, okay, now this environment is active or enabled or whatever the term is going to be. And then you need to be able to switch the environment when you, for example, download the database from production and have it locally. But this essentially is the same as having a UI to turn on a split or turn off a split in a way. So, like, and the same with having like where we want to store the configuration on the export. When you export the configuration where the environment specific thing is going, it would be part of the zip file, or so it would be in a collection, and so we can also add collection support to splits, and so it's like we can experiment with how it works and see yeah, if it works as a split, then it's probably also going to work as an environment. If we can't make it work as a split, then yeah, we need to think about it more. So that's why. And since I'm the maintainer of config split, I can just commit it there when when it's good. So and so it will be much faster, I think. But I think the config environment module we will like code somewhere else, like the one that will become the patch.
Cool. That's good. All right. Anything else from CMA2?
Yeah, there's a couple of other issues that we are going to try to get done. Mostly about the exclude module functionality that allows you to have development modules that are not part of the config export. There's some confusion of what this feature is supposed to do, and the documentation is not like exactly like the documentation doesn't set the expectations correctly, I think, or maybe yeah, we have to probably rediscuss what is it the expectation and what we want to implement. And yeah, but there's an issue, and it has new comments on it. And we had on our last meeting new people joining, and they commented on this issue already. And it's like more people being active is great.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now that too. So Ted or Larry, which one of you want to go next?
I can go next, unless Ted wants to go. I don't know.
No, that's fine.
Okay. So Claro. So I guess since the last cross initiative call, we've had a sprint. It was very successful. We had a couple of new people join the sprint we were able to onboard this project in the sprint. And besides that, we were able to complete all of the remaining design work. There's only one more issue that needs work on the design side. Everything else we were able to complete during the sprint. So that was very good. What we are working on right now is trying to complete everything on time for 9.10 alpha so that we could get Claro stable. But we have a couple of issues that are still waiting for review from the accessibility maintainers, and then some issues that need committer review. And we've been having a bit of hard time getting reviews from the accessibility team in the last couple of weeks because of their availability hasn't been great. And also there's quite a few initiatives asking for help from them right now. So they also have to prioritize. So that's I guess a risk for the timeline that we've set for 9.10. And but yeah, otherwise I think we are I would say we are at a good stage in terms of the progress for getting stable. So we have quite a few blockers which we would have to get committed from the issue queue. So that needs committer attention. So we could get the rest of the issues to RTBC and then also committed. But I don't think we've been getting reviews from committers for at least like maybe the last 3 weeks.
I'm trying to figure out the office hours time, because that would be very useful for you as well then.
Yes, but it's at 5:30 Pacific, so that's 3:30 a.m. for me.
Right, but if we can bring somebody else from your team there, that maybe.
Yeah, I asked if someone else is available, but it seems like a difficult time probably for everyone. So yeah, because it's at the evening time for people in the East Coast. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see if someone could join.
Yeah, I'm equally confused because the accessibility office hours time, the calendar invite that I created on the core calendar is on the 4th Tuesday of every month, which would be next Tuesday. And it would be at 1 p.m. Eastern, which is not too late. So, and the September 17th date that Rain provided on August 20th did not have a time associated. So, I don't know. So I'm trying to figure out which ones are wrong, because we need to fix the calendar and the time if it's a permanently different, because that would allow people to be involved with the accessibility office hours in a way that would help them resolve their things. So I posted in the thread to try to resolve this for today specifically. Rain is not on, so we'll try to.
Yeah, so I think there's a good chance that Claro stable will slip to 9.2 unless like in the next week or two we can get some amount of support from committers and the accessibility team. Yeah, and related to that, there's a risk, I guess, from Acquia's point of view, because I don't think Acquia will have a team working on it after 9.1 release.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I've understood, it could be really difficult to get people from Acquia to work on it, given how long they've worked on this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that was Claro. So Ted, do you want to go next about?
Sure.
Now you're
Thought I
the
cleared the
last
crowd out. Yeah, I'm here for the Automatic Updates Initiative. I'm working on a patch right now for the update module. So this would be not experimental to display highly critical PSAs on the status in various places in core. So right now we don't do that for PSAs, which are telling for upcoming updates. And I'll put that patch or put the issue in the chat. It's gotten some reviews. It's started out from the contrib module, and I've run into some problems that I'll hopefully make issues for the contrib module once all this is all done. Chat. Yeah. And so it could reuse reviews. I think since the last meeting, we had another sprint on the PHP Tuft PHP library, which is what we're hoping to use for signing between Drupal.org or Packagist and Drupal installations to make sure that you're getting the right updates, and that is moving along. And we're trying to get some buy-in from other PHP CMSs who might want to use that also. And there is another issue for the first experimental feature, which would be the readiness checks. And that I don't think has had much activity lately. I'll put that in here. They both could use reviews. That's it.
So my understanding was that the readiness checks would not be released with 9.1, even experimental.
Yeah, yeah. Even if we got them in, it would still, be alpha and hidden, because it doesn't make any sense to have readiness checks until you have the update.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just trying to get it committed in stages, but like for actual, we don't want to confuse people that they would actually be getting automatic updates when they're not going to be. So.
Still valuable to review, so that people are not reviewing
Yeah.
a whole big thing altogether.
Yeah, yeah. And that part is actually more straightforward from the contrib module than the PSA stuff at this point. That's it.
All right. So your PSA issue is 3041885.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your core issue is 3162655.
Yeah, that's the experimental issue, the second one.
Yep. Great. All right. Nobody else arrived, so if there are no questions that we should discuss on record, then this is it for today's meeting. Hopefully I can help with figuring out the accessibility time frame, because several people need that. The accessibility office hours to help promote Bugsmash, and that's a couple other things that I promised. We'll look up from the notes.
So I heard that Ben will be able to join the accessibility office hours today.
Nice.
So
great.
Hopefully we can get some support from them and potentially unblock some of those issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great. So that makes sense to keep track of which team meets when, so that we can align these things. And that's what part of the reason for this call is, to see what each other's are working on, and so we can help each other out.
Yep.
All right, great. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
talk
you.
later.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.